here we go. Five Nights at Freddy's, directed by Emma Tammy, starring Josh Hutcherson, Matthew Lillard, Piper Rubio, and Elizabeth Olyle, is the long-awaited adaptation of the video game based off the same title, and is also co-written by the creator himself, Scott Cawthon. I have to preface by saying that I have never played Five Nights at Freddy's. Not a single one. And I know that it's a big phenomenon. I've seen some people play it. I've even watched a lot of the videos about some of the lore and theories behind the games, but I've never played the games myself. So how you make a movie based off of a minimalistic stress management game that Five Nights at Freddy's is kind of baffling to me, but they did it. So for those of you who are curious as to what the movie is about, considering this is the third interpretation of the mythos of this franchise, is about this older brother, played by Josh Hutcherson, who takes up this role as a night security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and while he's doing this night job gig, is also fighting the custody of his youngest sister, and also is trying to figure out the mystery of who kidnapped his younger brother. What do I like about this movie? I really like seeing Josh Hutcherson again. I think it's something that kind of missed. I remember watching a lot of stuff he was in growing up, and it's just great to see him again in a movie, and he does a pretty good job, as does Piper Rubio. Her as the little sister actually is pretty great. Once again, like I said in Lights Out, younger stars in horror movies are generally known as being not so good, but Piper Rubio actually does a really good job at being a sweet, adorable, yet very closed off little girl, and she does a good job at that, to where you actually still kind of you relate to her, or at least you feel for her. Matthew Lillard is great as well to see again, because he's always bringing something to the table that makes a movie or show very entertaining, and he does the same thing here once again. I also want to say how Emma Tammy directs this movie is actually really neat, because in some ways it does have a like retro sort of vibe to it, and which is great to have, considering that in the mythos of this franchise, the fast food restaurant chain Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is a throwback to the 80s pop-up pizza joints like Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza, which dealt hugely in animatronics, and Emma does a really good job at bringing that same kind of nostalgic feel to it, while also bringing a very low-budget indie horror vibe, and the way some of the shots are posed, and just some of the overall production, which honestly I actually really enjoyed seeing. It brings a more grounded reality to this movie in some ways, and I actually enjoyed that. My problem, though, with this movie is it's honestly not that great, and it's mainly because of the composition of the story as a whole. Most of the movie actually has to do with Josh Hutcherson's character and the mystery behind who kidnapped his younger brother, and him kind of trying to find a way to take control of his dreams and reach in the depths of his mind to figure out who it is that kidnapped his younger brother. And to be honest, it kind of could have been a movie on its own and been a somewhat average, if not above average, thriller. This movie plays like a mostly this thriller type mystery with some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff sprinkled through, and doesn't really give you what you go in for this movie to be until the last 15 to 30 minutes. And it's kind of unfortunate, because if you're a longtime Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. There are some really neat nods and cameos within this movie that I honestly will have to say I enjoyed, but as a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, it doesn't really give you what you want going into it. It has a really intriguing moment when some people break into the restaurant, but if you're looking for that to be the entire movie, you're going to be sadly disappointed, as is with some of the scares. This movie is very light on scares, and it kind of plays a little cheesy with its characters. With Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, they don't really show off that creepy vibe that they do in the games in this movie. Like I said, it's not till that last 15 to 30 minutes that it really starts to bring the scares and the thrills that you want to see in a movie like this, until the very end. And I think it's going to really turn some people off. As a whole, this movie's kind of a mess. Did I enjoy it? Kind of, yeah. I did honestly somewhatly enjoy this movie, but it is a big mess. If you're going in for a movie that's really faithful to the game, and especially in terms of scares and the nostalgic 1980s horror vibe that the games have, you're going to be sadly disappointed. If you want a disposable horror movie with a really interesting gimmick with some of the actual practical works done by the Jim Henson Creature Company, which is actually really cool to see, then you might enjoy it. This first tryout, I'd say it's probably about 10 years too late. But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think of Five Nights at Freddy's? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And have you guys played the games? Do you think I should play them? Which probably gonna have to do sometime pretty soon, and I'm not looking forward to it. But anyway, let me know in the comments below if you have any suggestions, recommendations, or comments about my thoughts, or even your thoughts. If you like content like this and want to see more and keep up to date, don't forget to like and subscribe. We do have one more episode left in Spooktober, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. You've got to be kidding me. I don't know if this is somebody's funny game or if the breaker went out, but we're gonna have to figure out. But be sure to stay tuned. I will be back with the last episode in Spooktober, so I will see you then, I suppose, as soon as I can figure out who's messing with my power.